I finally got my degree in digital media, and I was happy to finally get a degree. I, however, could not find any jobs in this field. Furthermore, I unfortunately still didn't feel prepared enough to get a job in the field. I realized that digital media is a very competitive field. There's a lot of people in that field, and they're all really good at graphic design, multimedia, and animation. I tried improving on my multimedia skills on my own, but it was really a struggle. I felt kind of upset about all the time I spent on the screen, and now I wasn't finding a decent job. However, I tried looking at it in a positive, loving perspective and tried not to suffer too much. I decided to retort finding other kinds of work and focus on my TV and film major instead. I was in my second semester in that major. I was concerned about my college tuition debt too. I was over $40,000 in debt, mainly from going to Kettering, which I inevitably dropped out. I often thought about how I was bummed about going to Kettering. When I decided to go to Kettering, I felt a bad feeling about it in my gut, but I didn't act upon it. I should have acted on my intuition then, but instead I decided to go on my mental impulse because I was interested in electronics. Even though my gut feelings felt like I shouldn't have, I just used reasoning, and my reasoning was I was interested in electronics then. And my parents thought it was a good idea too. But now, I'm actually not into electronics anymore. I lost interest once I moved to South Carolina, and I haven't made a circuit board since. And now I'm $40,000 in debt. I've never been a huge believer in the benefits of taking loans out for college. If I was more informed about the potential problem of what I was getting into younger, I probably would have never taken out a college loan. Many students are pursued by many agencies to take out student loans. It's like peer pressure in a way. They kind of get talked into it. They get chimed about all the benefits. Many of these students are uninformed about what they're really actually getting into, and it's always easy to jump into a decision when it sounds good. More and more people these days are taking out loans and cannot pay back the debt. Many students are told that their major will guarantee a job. Why wouldn't you take out a loan if you thought you're going to guarantee getting a job once you graduate? This it sounds good, but in truth, many people, when they graduate, they have a hard time getting a job, and they can't pay back the loans. Many people are starting to default on their loans. This in turn affects the economy even more. More and more students are currently defaulting because they cannot pay back the debt. As a consequence, this affects the economy like dominoes. This is a concern problem that could one day result in tragic problems like the collapse in the U.S. housing market back in 2006. The U.S. housing market collapse started out the same way as this. Life started to change once I was in a relationship. I was living on my own. I liked living on my own much better than living with my dad. I felt like I had more freedom and I could do more things that I enjoyed without worrying about them disagreeing. Of course, I loved being around my girlfriend too. I love every moment I enjoyed adoring her, and it was an amazing feeling. Even though I was happy about living on my own and being with my girlfriend, in that I thought I was spiritually growing, there was one slight drawback this year. I didn't really get a chance to hang out with my friends that much this year. All my friends that I used to hang out with all the time started calling me less, and they didn't seem to want to hang out with me as much. I think it's because we are all getting older and our lives are becoming busier. In addition, most people of this age are starting to settle down and have kids. I missed hanging out with my friends in the old days like we did in the old days. I missed hanging out. I also missed hanging out with my friends from Michigan. I felt like having friends that I hung out was important to me. I feel like being around people is a benefit to my world because I'm a very joyful person and unique. And I think my uniqueness, I think, is an inspiration. I think my disability is an inspiration. And I think people with Asperger's syndrome and other forms of disability is actually a good thing because it inspires the world.